The Smolny Institute is shrouded in night, smoke swirling in dimly lit halls. Lenin stands, a solitary figure, before the Bolsheviks. A single lamp casts long, dramatic shadows across their faces. The air is thick with anticipation and revolutionary fervor. Lenin's voice cuts through the tension. "We must seek immediate peace with Germany." His words hang in the air, a challenge to the assembled revolutionaries. Trotsky paces his office, frustration etched deeply on his face. "These terms are unacceptable, Vladimir Ilyich," he exclaims, his voice filled with rising anger. Lenin's voice echoes, "We must secure peace at any cost, Lev Davidovich." Trotsky retorts, "But at what cost? Our principles, our revolution." Gaunt faces and dusty boots fill Petrograd's streets as weary soldiers march, their steps echoing through the heavy silence. Disillusionment hangs in the air, a tangible weight pressing down on the ranks. Each step carries the burden of unspoken anti-war sentiment. The cobblestones bear witness to the silent protest etched on every soldier's face. A cloud of weariness shrouds the marching soldiers, dimming the light of Petrograd. Inside the room, a smoky haze obscures the scene. The room buzzes with fervent, heated debate. Bukharin's face is flushed as he gestures emphatically. His voice rises above the noise, filled with passion. "We must ignite the flames of revolutionary war," Bukharin declares. In the dim light, Lenin sits alone, shadows dancing across his office as he studies the grim reality of the Eastern Front. A single lamp illuminates the large wooden desk, casting a pool of light on the map spread before the focused leader. Lines mark territorial losses, each a glaring reminder of the conflict's heavy toll, etched onto the detailed maps. Lenin's brow furrows, a deep concentration in his eyes as he contemplates the weight of each strategic decision. The room is silent, save for the rustle of paper, amplifying the solitude and intensity of the moment. Before the Winter Palace, a sea of faces rises, voices blending into a roar against the peace treaty. The air crackles with anger as citizens unite, their collective frustration palpable in every shout. A unified front of defiance, their faces etched with concern, challenging the impending treaty. The palace looms, a silent witness to the rising tide of protest. Each voice adds to the growing crescendo, a symphony of dissent echoing in the winter air. In Brest-Litovsk, the negotiation room is thick with unspoken tension, as the Russian delegation awaits. Trotsky, sharp and intellectual, leads the Russian side, his gaze intense and unwavering. Across the table, German representatives sit stern-faced, their presence imposing and formidable. The air crackles with anticipation, as two worlds collide in a silent battle of wills. In the dimly lit Smolny Institute, Lenin's figure is a study in contained energy, pacing with a restless intensity. His brow is a landscape of furrows, each line etched deeper with mounting concern and strategic calculation. Urgent messages arrive from Brest-Litovsk, each bearing news of stalled negotiations and unmet expectations. With each update, Lenin's impatience visibly escalates, fueling his determination. The weight of a revolution hangs heavy in the air. Every shadow seems to whisper of impending decisions and unavoidable conflict. In dim light, Trotsky hunches over his desk, shadows dancing around him, crafting a statement. His brow furrows as he drafts neither peace nor war, hoping to buy time against grim fate. The weight of inevitability presses down as each word is meticulously chosen in the silent room. The shadows deepen, mirroring the uncertainty of the declaration and the looming threat. At Petrograd Railway, Trotsky, cloaked against the wind, moves towards the train, clutching Lenin's sealed orders. The biting wind whips around him as he strides forward, his brow furrowed in contemplation of the task ahead. A subtle flicker of doubt crosses his face, revealing deep reservations about the impending mission. His determined stride masks the internal conflict as he embarks on a journey fraught with uncertainty. Tension fills the room as negotiations resume, the air heavy with unspoken threats and looming consequences. Stern-faced German representatives confront the Bolshevik delegation across a table laden with maps and harsh demands. The Germans slide a revised treaty, its terms even more unforgiving, a stark symbol of power. "This is our final offer. Accept it or face the consequences," the German representative declares. the threat unmistakable. In the dim telegraph office, Lenin's face flickers with light, shadowed by the gravity of the moment. He stares intently at the telegram, the German ultimatum, a physical weight in the silent room. His eyes narrow, a storm of thought brewing behind them as he considers each choice. The fate of a nation hangs in the balance, etched on Lenin's face in the flickering light. Lenin, at the head of the table, surveys the Central Committee, the air thick with unspoken dissent and simmering tension. He presents the ultimatum, his voice a steady force against the rising tide of opposition. A storm of argument breaks loose, voices clashing in a furious ballet of disagreement. The heavy wooden table seems to groan under the weight of history and the burden of decision. Each member grapples with the gravity of Lenin's words, their faces etched with doubt and determination. Dim light casts long shadows as Lenin sits hunched over his desk, a solitary figure in the quiet intensity of his office. Papers are scattered, each one a burden, a silent testament to the sleepless hours and relentless pressures he faces. He runs a weary hand through his thinning hair, his face etched with worry and the heavy burden of his decision. The weight of his choice hangs heavy in the air, a palpable presence that fills every corner of the dimly lit room. Outside the Petrograd factory, workers gather, their anxious murmurs rising with cigarette smoke. A heated debate erupts, centered on the looming peace treaty with Germany. Some faces are gaunt, etched with hunger, desperately yearning for the war to end. Others are etched with worry, fearing German domination and lost gains. The Petrograd factory looms behind them, a silent witness to their fears and hopes. Sunlight floods the Brest-Litovsk negotiation room, highlighting the polished table and expectant faces. Leon Trotsky stands tall, his figure framed by the bright windows, a picture of controlled intensity. His voice echoes, "Russia hereby announces its withdrawal from the war. We will cease hostilities, but we will not sign your treaty," Trotsky declares, a challenge in his tone. Inside Smolny, Lenin is a storm of fury, pacing like a caged tiger, his eyes burning with intense anger. His brow deeply furrowed, he struggles to contain his rage, the weight of the revolution heavy on his shoulders. With explosive force, Lenin slams his fist on the table, the sound echoing through the tense room. Trotsky's defiance is maddening. Lenin roars, his voice filled with frustration and barely suppressed fury. He continues, his words laced with urgency and dread. Does he not see the peril we are in? Lenin's eyes blaze with grim certainty. The Germans will resume their advance. It is only a matter of time. Under a bleak sky, endless columns of German troops march relentlessly into the vast expanse of Russian territory, their uniforms stark against the landscape. A sea of soldiers advances, unchallenged and seemingly unstoppable. The earth trembles beneath the weight of their advance, each step a symbol of impending conflict and domination. An ominous silence hangs in the air, broken only by the rhythmic march of soldiers, heralding a new era of war. In the Bolshevik meeting room, Lenin's intense gaze sweeps over the gathered members, the air charged with anticipation. Agitated murmurs ripple through the room as Lenin presses for an immediate vote. Faces contort in disagreement, defiance palpable in the tense atmosphere. The fate of the revolution hangs heavy in the balance. In the dim light, Lenin stands, the weight of leadership heavy on his face, shadows stretching across the room. His fist slams on the desk, the sound echoing in the tense silence of the office. "I threaten to resign if my demand is not met." Lenin's voice booms, filled with resolve. His authority hangs precariously in the balance, a silent battle waged in the heart of power. The Bolshevik meeting room is thick with tension, beads of sweat glistening after the tense vote. Suppressed energy crackles in the air as Lenin's proposal narrowly passes. A collective breath is held, the weight of the decision settling heavily on everyone. The treaty will be signed, the die is cast, and history is about to be irrevocably altered. Inside the negotiation room, the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk awaits solemn signatures. Defeated, members of the Russian delegation slump, their faces mirroring a nation's despair. The weight of the treaty hangs heavy in the air, a symbol of loss and resignation. Ink meets paper, sealing a fate etched in sorrow and sacrifice. A palpable sense of disappointment hangs heavy in the Petrograd streets. The air is thick with unspoken anger. Citizens mill about, their faces etched with concern, their movements mirroring the turmoil within. Whispers of the treaty spread like wildfire, igniting fear and uncertainty in every corner. The Petrograd streets are now a canvas of collective anxiety, each face a testament to shattered hopes. Inside the Smolny Institute, Lenin stands at the podium, bathed in bright lights, addressing the assembly. His figure is a beacon of determination, his presence commanding attention. Lenin gestures emphatically, his movements sharp and deliberate, emphasizing each word. His voice resonates powerfully, filling the hall with the weight of his conviction. "We must defend the treaty as a necessary evil," Lenin declares, his words hanging in the air. The Petrograd Soviet listens intently, aware of the gravity of Lenin's proclamation. Dim light casts long shadows as Bukharin feverishly paces in his apartment, tension palpable. Around the table, his supporters gather, their faces grim, a silent pact etched in their eyes. Hushed whispers fill the room, each word a carefully placed piece in their unfolding plan. Determination hardens their features as they strategize, a united front against the odds. The fate of their cause hangs heavy in the air, a storm brewing in the heart of the night. A long, desolate dirt road cuts through the expansive Russian countryside, stretching far into the horizon. Weary peasants trudge along the road, their faces mirroring the harsh realities of war's toll. Their shoulders are slumped, a silent testament to the heavy burdens they carry. Eyes lack the fire of patriotism, reflecting disillusionment with the ongoing conflict. Worn sacks and battered rifles are their companions, symbols of a war that has left them resentful. Each step echoes with the weight of sacrifice and fading hope in the vast, indifferent landscape. Lenin sits amidst a sea of documents, his Spartan office a stark symbol of the revolution. A nervous aide delivers grave reports, the weight of the news evident in his trembling hands. Lenin listens intently, his gaze sharp as he absorbs the reports of unrest. Concern etches itself onto Lenin's face, the fate of the Soviet Republic hanging in the balance. Petrograd Square swarms with counter-revolutionaries, their voices a rising tide against the Bolshevik regime. The crowd surges, a sea of faces etched with defiance and hope. Bolshevik troops march into the square, their presence a stark warning. The demonstration splinters and scatters as the troops move in, dispersing the crowd with swift, decisive action. Within Smolny, shadows flicker, illuminating the faces of determined Bolsheviks gathered around a long table. Lenin, his eyes gleaming with fierce resolve, stands at the head, a beacon of revolutionary fire. He gestures emphatically, his movements sharp and purposeful in the dimly lit room. His voice, resonant and commanding, fills the space, a call to unwavering action. "We must suppress all opposition," Lenin declares, his words echoing with unyielding conviction. "The revolution demands absolute unity," he asserts, his gaze sweeping over the assembled revolutionaries. A desolate landscape unfolds, bearing the scars of a forgotten war under a relentless sun. Twisted metal and shattered stone mark the barren ground, whispering tales of a violent past. The air vibrates with the lingering ghosts of fallen soldiers, forever bound to this desolate field. The sun offers no solace, its harsh light only amplifying the utter desolation of the battlefield. Silence reigns, broken only by the wind whistling through the skeletal remains of war machines. Rows of beds fill the sterile hospital, each holding a soldier scarred by war, bodies broken, spirits diminished. Bandages conceal the brutal cost of battle, burns, and the empty spaces where limbs once were. Some soldiers fix their gaze on the ceiling, lost in the haunting echoes of past battles. Each breath rattles, a weak, painful reminder of life clinging precariously to broken bodies. The air hangs heavy with unspoken trauma, a silent testament to the ravages of war. A palpable sense of despair permeates the room, a battlefield of the mind as harrowing as any. Homes lay in ruins, a testament to a disaster that has befallen this village. Fields once lush are now barren, mirroring the villagers' empty stomachs and despair. Faces etched with worry, the villagers struggle amidst food shortages and economic ruin. Gaunt figures sift through rubble, desperate to salvage what little remains. Children with hollow eyes search for scraps, their innocence lost to the devastation. The village, once vibrant, now echoes with the silence of loss and the weight of hardship. Lenin's stern gaze dominates the room, His office, a command center filled with maps and documents. The weight of Bolshevik power rests heavily on his shoulders as he prepares for the coming storm. His eyes scan the spread of maps, each one a battlefield in the making. A tense silence fills the room, broken only by the rustle of papers under Lenin's decisive hand. He is the eye of the storm, focused and unyielding in the face of inevitable civil war. Night falls on Petrograd's streets, its darkness pierced by sparse, flickering lights. Bolshevik propaganda posters adorn the decaying buildings, a stark contrast of ideology and reality. Bold slogans scream from the walls, promising a new regime amidst the crumbling facades. The posters cast long, distorted shadows, hinting at the deceptive nature of power. A chilling wind whispers through the streets, carrying the weight of revolution and uncertainty. Sunlight floods the Smolny Institute's Grand Hall, once a school for noble girls, now a hub of revolutionary fervor. Bolsheviks, a mix of hardened revolutionaries and idealistic intellectuals, stride with purpose through the corridors. Dust motes dance in the sunbeams, illuminating the intoxicating scent of ink, paper, and change. The air crackles with anticipation, the weight of history and the promise of a new world hanging heavy. Under a vast, clear sky, the Russian countryside unfolds in endless fields. Land, once held by wealthy hands, is now marked for division. Peasants gather, their faces etched with anticipation and hope. The air vibrates with the palpable sense of newfound freedom. Children run through the fields, their laughter echoing in the distance. A new era dawns, painted in the colors of change and liberation. Towering machinery dominates the factory, a stark backdrop to the burgeoning worker revolution. The air vibrates with the promise of empowerment as workers seize control. Faces etched with grit and resolve, the workers move with newfound determination. Conveyor belts, once symbols of oppression, now pulse with the rhythm of worker solidarity. Empty churches stand with bolted doors, symbols of faith stripped away, revealing bare, echoing walls. Confiscation notices, stark and official, are plastered across the heavy church doors, sealing them shut. Sunlight streams through stained glass windows, now empty frames, illuminating the desolation within. Dust motes dance in the silence, a solemn testament to the absence of prayer and congregation. The heavy doors bear witness to a silent revolution, a world transformed by decree and force. Snow blankets Petrograd streets as long lines form, figures huddled against the biting cold. The queues wind towards bread shops, their empty windows stark against the winter day. Faces etched with worry, they wait, their breath misting in the frigid air. A palpable desperation hangs heavy, mirroring the city's crippling food shortages. Each shuffling step forward is a testament to hope and dwindling supplies. The snow-dusted streets become a stage for silent suffering and quiet resilience. In the dim light, Lenin sits hunched over a desk buried in papers, his face etched with deep concentration and resolve. The glow of the lamp highlights the intensity in his eyes, reflecting his unwavering focus on the revolution. Stacks of documents overflow around him, a testament to his tireless work late into the night. Each note and paper fuels his conviction, driving him to reshape the world with unyielding determination. A desolate Petrograd cemetery under a heavy sky, gravestones stretching into the distance. The air hangs thick with the scent of rain and freshly turned earth, a somber tableau. Grief-etched faces gather around a freshly dug grave, a stark reminder of wartime sacrifice. Wilted flowers scatter around, a silent testament to lives tragically cut short. The camera pans across the desolate landscape, a panorama of loss and remembrance. Each stone a marker, each flower a tear in the vast expanse of Petrograd Cemetery. Smolny Institute buzzes. Revolutionary fervor fills the air. Grim Bolsheviks gather, their faces etched with resolve. The Cheka is born, a secret police taking shape in shadows, a tool to crush dissent forged in the heart of revolution. The atmosphere is heavy, charged with the weight of power. Across the vast Russian countryside, white army soldiers gather, their white uniforms stark against the snow. A sea of soldiers begins to organize, their breath misting in the cold air. They prepare to challenge the Bolsheviks, their faces grim with determination. The rising sun casts long shadows as the army stands ready for battle. Lenin sits at his desk, face stern, papers strewn before him. A portrait of Marx looms over the sparsely furnished office. His eyes blaze with revolutionary fervor, a leader steeling himself for decisive action. The weight of the revolution rests heavily on his shoulders as he considers the path ahead. "We must unleash the Red Terror," Lenin declares, his voice resonating with unwavering resolve. "Crush all opposition, show no mercy." His words echo in the room, a chilling decree of revolutionary justice. Petrograd prison looms a grim silhouette under a starless sky. Distant shouts echo in the chilling air. Harsh floodlights cut through the darkness, casting long, distorted shadows that dance ominously. Cheka officers, faces hardened, oversee the grim execution, their vigilance unwavering. The heavy thud of boots resonates on cobblestone, marking the march towards inevitable doom. Plumes of smoke rise from unseen fires, painting the night with despair and unspoken horrors. Trenches scar the vast Russian countryside, smoke billowing on the horizon, a stark reminder of the brutal civil war. The air vibrates with tension, the distant echoes of gunfire puncturing the uneasy calm. Red and white flags flutter ominously, marking the divided territories and escalating conflict. In tattered uniforms, soldiers march across the churned fields, their faces set with grim determination. Brother fights against brother in a ruthless power struggle, tearing apart the heart of Russia. In his office, Lenin studies a map of Russia, revolutionary fire in his intense gaze, his brow furrowed with concern. Lenin barks orders into the telephone, his emphatic gestures directing the war effort with unwavering resolve. The fate of the revolution rests on his shoulders. Lenin's determination is absolute. He is ready to defend the revolution at all costs. His eyes burn with the relentless spirit of revolution, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. The battlefield explodes in chaos, a brutal clash between the red and white armies, tearing through the earth. Explosions rip the ground, plumes of dirt and smoke choking the sky, the air thick with the stench of war. A maelstrom of soldiers locked in deadly combat, a desperate fight for survival amidst the carnage. The ground is littered with bodies, a testament to the brutal cost of war, both living and dead intertwined. In the dimly lit Smolny Institute, Lenin stands tall, his figure radiating revolutionary zeal. His eyes burn with conviction as he surveys the Bolshevik Party, the air thick with anticipation. "Comrades, the revolution is at a precipice," Lenin declares, his voice echoing with urgency. "We must fight with every fiber of our being to ensure its survival," he urges, igniting fervor. Petrograd stirs awake, war-scarred yet resilient, under a sky painted with the hues of a new, uneasy dawn. Life trickles back into the streets, a fragile stream in the riverbed of revolution, each step a testament. The Bolsheviks' banner hangs heavy, a symbol of power bought with sacrifice, its shadow stretching far. A child's laughter echoes, a poignant melody against the backdrop of ruins, a promise struggling to bloom. Scars remain etched on the city's face, silent witnesses to a past refusing to fade, a future uncertain.